Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Boise. Should be a great matchup on hand as the Boise State Broncos continue their homestand tonight, hosting the Northwestern State University Demons from Natchitoches, Louisiana. It's been a long road trip for the Demons, and they're going to close it out here with the furthest game that they're going to play in this entire season on the road. Down courtside, Leonard Berry here with a former Bronco, Nick Duncan, KTV's very own Jay Tust, and ExtraMile Arena has been a good place so far for Boise State here, Nick.
Third game in a row for the Broncos here at home, but something about the Broncos here at ExtraMile Arena.
Something about the Broncos here at ExtraMile Arena. And, Jay, something about Boise State just in the state of Idaho, 5-0 so far this season here in the Gem State.
Really quick, Nick doesn't bite on the pump fake right there, staying locked in and focused. Boise State in the state of Idaho has been great, particularly shooting the ball this year. In the Gem State, they're shooting at almost 35% behind the arc. When they leave the state, 28%. Also sharing the ball last game, right? Boise State 11-0 all-time in the Leon Rice era when they have 20 or more assists at home.
One of the principles of Boise State basketball is being elite ball movers, and they were finding their main man, Max Rice, who led Boise State in the victory on Saturday against Western Oregon. And this was his game where he showed everyone this is exactly what he can do, Nick.
Max has hurt it a lot this season. He has started slow before the last game, shooting under 20% from the three-point line, but coming out 6 for 9 behind the arc. And the Broncos did a great job, as Jay mentioned, passing the ball around and finding the hot hand. And in order for the Broncos to make a late season push in the conference, they got to get Max going.
They're going to need to have Max Rice going. He's hoping to continue his great play like we saw on Saturday. Chibuzo Abo also chipped in for Boise State in that win over Western Oregon. The Demons are looking to spoil the party here in Boise. It's Northwestern State and Boise State coming up next from ExtraMile Arena on the Mountain West Network and KTVB. Time for basketball at ExtraMile Arena. Leonard Berry, Nick Duncan, Jay Tuss with you for Boise State. Chibuzo Abo and Max Rice combined to score over 50 points on Saturday. Both of them in the starting lineup again here tonight.
See Omar Stanley also in the starting lineup over Cam Martin. There's been a bit of back and forth action between those, but looks like Omar Stanley with the start here as well.
And how about this? Roddy Anderson going to be in the starting lineup for the Broncos. He was in the starting five to start the season, was brought off the bench the last few games. I'm looking to see how he responds tonight. Maybe a little bit of motivation, a boost of confidence that he needs to get his season going.
And you saw the starters for Northwestern State. 2 players in that starting lineup averaging more than double digits a game as the Broncos start with Abo. He's their leading scorer, and he starts with a big 3.
Picking up right where he left off. My goodness.
Abo, 8 of 11, 6 of 8 on Saturday, 24 points. And he gets the Broncos cooking to open things here. Chase Forte giving the ball up. This is Cliff Davis, leads the team in scoring.
Against North Texas, Chibuzo Abo tied his career high with 6 threes, something he's only achieved once prior to this season. Well, he followed it up with 6 more against Western Oregon over the weekend.
Abo moving it out of his hands. Stanley trying to create on the perimeter, and here's Anderson, really his first touch as the point guard. Under 10 on the shot clock for Rice. Creates some space. They're going to call an offensive foul as he pushed off. And we take a look at our keys to the game for both of these teams, and for Northwestern State and Boise State, some similar ideas. Boise State need to play with some poise that they had like they did on Saturday.
And coming out of the North Texas game with 20 turnovers, big emphasis for the Broncos on protecting the basketball, making simple plays, and controlling the pace on their offense.
Yeah, you look at this Northwestern State team, you can see right now Boise State with a pretty big-time size advantage. The Broncos are coming off one of the more impressive rebounding efforts of the Leon Rice era, plus 29 on the glass. We'll see if Northwestern State can contend on the boards this evening.
Cliff Davis ties things up at 3, and this is a Northwestern State team that can score the basketball. So Boise State's defense is going to be tested here tonight.
Yeah, Cliff Davis is a guy that can really get it going.
Abo, contested, does not care.
Now 17 of 24 shooting over the last 2+ games for Chibuzo Abo. I wanted to finish my thought real quick on Cliff Davis. He's a guy, man, almost shooting 40% from three, has 15 threes over his last 3 games combined. He can really fill it up if he gets it going.
He's an elite scorer for Boise State. This is Braylon Bush. This is Forte into a step-back 3. That won't go. And Degenhart the rebound. Rice doubled. Off a screen, thought about it. You can see the Broncos looking to get the ball to Abo any chance they can. Back and forth between Rice and Degenhart. Good no-look pass. Anderson open. Straightaway 3 is down. 3 threes to open the game for Boise State.
Go back to last game, 26 assists. First time since November of 2021. That's what the Broncos have been relying on. Getting that balls to their shooters right in their pocket, paying off in their three-point percentage the last couple of games.
3 buckets, 3 assists to start this one.
And 100% from the floor for Boise State. Corner pass to Forte. 5 on the shot clock for Davis, and he stepped out of bounds. Turnover for the Demons. Andrew Meadow going to check into the game for Boise State. And he'll inbound it to Anderson.
Tyson Degenhart just left the floor. Looked like he was limping a little bit. Maybe went back to the locker room to get that thing checked out.
And not seeing him at the end of the Boise State bench at the moment. Rice, deep 3. Broncos want to start 4 for 4. Can't do it. Davis. That's another 3. He's got 2. It's a 3-point contest here in ExtraMile Arena.
Spoke about the Northwestern State. 71 points per game. 4 more points than the Broncos. They'll get up and down and look to shoot the 3.
Rice, uncontested, but that one comes off the side of the rim. Good read by Anderson there. He tips the pass, goes out of bounds, and we go to a break. Boise State, 3 threes in the early going. They lead at 9-6. We welcome you back on KTVB and the Mountain West Network. For Boise State, head coach Leon Rice in his 14th season, 5th different starting lineup that Coach Rice has had to use here tonight.
Yeah, continuing to try to tinker with those pieces there, Nick. Try to find out who this team is and what, how their rotations work together.
Last game, 14 players, all 14 players other than the red shirts getting minutes. 10 players playing all but 2 games as well. So he's going into the bench deep, trying to find some lineups, see what's working. Getting some guys some experience and some minutes because you never know who they're going to need in February and March as well.
Rick Cabrera on the other side, the New York native, first season as a head coach for the Demons. 152 and 55 in 6 seasons across Lackawanna College and Tallahassee CC. This is a man who knows how to win at the junior college level, has 9 junior college transfers with him here this season for a Northwestern State team that has not returned a single player who scored a point last year. Pretty incredible stuff for the Demons this year.
To show how small a percentage it is, only 3 other teams, well, I should say two other teams, Utah State and New Mexico State, are the only other teams that don't bring back any players that scored a point in the 2022 and 2023 season.
Man, that's a crazy stat. We mentioned Boise State using their 5th different starting lineup of the season. Leon Rice already starting to mix and match. R.J. Keene on the floor early for the Broncos tonight.
3-point game coming back from the first break. Davis has all 6 of the points, and he'll make it all 9 of the points for Northwestern State. We said this is a team that can score, Jay.
Yeah.
Davis showing you that.
Tried to warn you right out the gate. He can really shoot at 15 threes over his last 3 games combined. He already has 3 in this contest.
He was 7 of 14 from deep in their last contest, a loss against Southern Miss, and this is Bush on the extended run out. Demons have the lead.
Bit of confidence from the Demons. A few 3-pointers and obviously trading defense to offense there with the fast break layup.
That makes it an 8-0 Demons run here over the last minute. Abo trying to put an end to that, but he'll come up short.
It's almost a shocker when he misses one these days.
No kidding, man. 14 out of his last 20 from 3 for Chibuzo Abo. I couldn't shoot layups at that rate.
He'll try again, and that one's going to miss as well. Now, Abo coming into this game, 50% shooter from the floor as really a combo guard. I mean, those are numbers you expect a center to shoot. First touch for Jamison Epps. Epps facing up, put the handoff to Davis. That's a deep 3. An offensive rebound for Jamel Lane, but he can't finish that, and Keene's got the rebound. Broncos trying to get their offense going as we've got a whistle away from the play. Going to call a foul against Lane.
Good news, Tyson Degenhart back on the floor, checking into the game for Boise State, along with Max Rice as well, and Jace Whiting we're going to see for the first time this evening.
A little scare from the Broncos, but I think I see some tape under those socks now, and a little slight roll of the ankle, and back to the locker room to get those ankles taped up.
Rice and Whiting passing it around. There goes to Degenhart, who will get fouled, and he's going to go to the line to try to tie this game up.
Demons looking to switch up their defense from man-to-man. You can see they're back to the 2-3 zone, but Broncos doing a great job of getting inside those gaps, and Tyson doing a great job taking it strong to the bucket and getting foul, heading to the line.
And Degenhart will miss that first free throw for Boise State. 18 points for Degenhart last time out in just 21 minutes. 7 of 9 from the floor, 4 of 6. Just an efficient scorer. That's what Tyson Degenhart has been for Boise State over his first 2 seasons. But he's going to miss them both. And we're going to have a lane violation called that's going to give him another chance.
Does a lot of things well, and talking to him recently, I know he's been talking about his free throw percentage and not where he wants it to be, but always great getting an extra one.
And he's going to get the shooter's roll on that one. So it ends the 8-0 run for Northwestern State. It's an 11-10 contest. Bush, nice pocket pass to Epps. He'll miss the pull-up jump shot. Martin is fighting for position down underneath the basket. But the Broncos keeping it on the outside. It's Whiting with the deep 3, and he'll roll that home to put Boise State back in front.
Jace really is an efficient shooter. Doesn't shoot it a ton, but I think that's why the coaches are encouraging him more and more. If he's open, pull the trigger.
Knocked down 2 3-pointers on Saturday. Did Whiting, gets his first here. Bush into the lane, has to try to take an acrobatic shot. Tip back up by Epps once, twice. Ball's still loose. Epps picks it up, throws it off Martin. It hits Epps. Wild sequence, and it's out of bounds off of Jamison Epps.
Spoke about the high differential tonight, but it's one thing the Demons do is they crash the boards, averaging 11.6 offensive rebounds per game, 2 more than Boise State does on the season.
Good hustle play there by Epps, just didn't work out for him. As Whiting goes back to work, quarterbacking the offense. And Boise State head coach Mike Burns talked a little bit about the 2 different quarterbacks the Broncos have. Cam Martin might be the 3rd. That's a great pass to Degenhart.
Leads the team in assists. Got a big-time compliment from Mike Burns this week. He said that Cam might be the best passer on the roster right now.
Certainly agree with Coach Burns. After you see a pass like that. Davis looking for Epps. Tough defense from Martin, but he fouls him. And it'll be Jamison Epps at the free throw line when we come back. Broncos by 4 here. Under 12 minutes to go in the first half. A quick start for Cliff Davis for Northwestern State. The Demons have 11 points. He's got 9 of them on 3 made three-pointers.
He's a volume shooter, shooting over 70% of his shots from the three-point line, as you can see, coming out hot. Once you see a couple go in, I think the Demons are going to go back to him.
I think for the most part this season, you've seen Boise State has done a really good job of defending the three-point line, not only limiting opponents from shooting a high percentage, but also just limiting them from shooting it, right? They've done a good job getting in, closing out, making opponents pass the ball. But byproduct of that is they've given up some layups throughout this year, right? So going into the Western Oregon game, they said, hey, maybe they're not going to be so aggressive on some of those closeouts. Western Oregon hits 10 threes. Not so aggressive tonight. You've seen a hot start here by Northwestern State. We'll see how Boise State tries to counter this with their defensive approach.
It should be an interesting back and forth on the night. One thing for the Demons is that they have cooled off considerably. They're 0 of their last 6, and that second free throw will not go down, so it remains a 3-point game. They haven't hit a field goal in the last 3 minutes either, have the Demons. So that is something that they're going to try to work on next time down the floor, but it's Boise State trying to get their offense going. Broncos shooting 56% from the floor so far. Under 10 on the shot clock for Whiting. Rice tries it in the middle, stolen away by Davis. Fast break for Bush, and that is a tough finish at the rim.
Demons doing a great job on the defensive end, just mixing up their matchups, going from 2-3 zone to man. They've also done 2-3 zone into man once the ball goes into the high post, as you can see right here.
Degenhart trying to work on the block, and that soft touch around the rim pays off for him.
See time and time again, Tyson Degenhart in the low post. He's worked a lot in the offseason, tried to add to his variety down there, and this season he's done a great job. Must be converting 60 to 70% of the time, getting the ball down low.
He might not be the most glamorous scorer, but he is certainly an efficient one. It always seems to drop for him. There's a fade out of the low post from Jay Slack, and a steal from Davis. Sets up a 3. That's going to be short. Offensive rebound, Epps. Oh, nice fake. That set him up for 2.
Another offensive rebound from Northwestern State. They're going to keep coming at you all game.
These are kind of just hustle rebounds, too, that Northwestern State's going out and grabbing on the offensive end. I mentioned that the Broncos had a really good rebounding effort.
Another 3 from Abo.
A really good rebounding effort against Western Oregon over the weekend, and I was kind of curious, how's that going to translate to teams that have, more size? That's a non-Division I team they did that against. And Mike Burns said, he thinks what they did is really going to translate to other opponents, but I don't know if we've necessarily seen that so far tonight.
Stanley with the takeaway. Epps behind him, and Stanley's going to rock the rim. He is so much faster than you would expect for a guy at 6'8", 240.
He's the complete package, man. He can pass it a little bit. Obviously, he can defend the rim. Good rebounder. They keep him out of foul trouble. He's going to be useful.
There's Epps getting a bucket. That's his second. He's got 5 points. Stanley spinning in the post, takes the contact. He's going to the line.
Omar Stanley added to the starting lineup. It's just the issue the last couple of games and since the beginning of the season is just his ability to stay on the court for foul trouble, but you can see what he's producing with only 19 minutes per game. He adds that spark and energy for the Broncos.
Yeah, his athleticism, his versatility, his ability to finish around the rim could be really dangerous for this Boise State team on the offensive end of the court here. At times they play that 4 out, 1 in. If somebody wants to try to guard Omar Stanley one-on-one, Leon Rice is like, let him have it. If somebody wants to double him, he's a great passer, can really move the ball at times.
And he can beat guys off the dribble at the perimeter. He's done that a number of times this season, even in Boise State's tougher matchups this season. When you look at the Clemson game, Virginia Tech, VCU, Butler, Stanley was consistently beating guys off the dribble as Abo gets the first offensive rebound. Stanley puts it back in, and he's going back to the line.
Athleticism right there. He might only be 6'8", but he can play above the rim. See the second chance opportunity. Taking the ball hard to the rim.
And just as you were talking about, Jay, Boise State struggling on the offensive glass, being out-rebounded 5-0 until Abo came in there. Stanley trying to get a second, but it's Bush who comes down with it. And the Broncos are on an unbelievable pace right now. They're shooting 69% from the floor and 56% from three. Chris Mubaru with a three-pointer for the Demons, and they're shooting a fantastic percentage, 57% from beyond the arc.
Northwestern on last game of a 7 away game stretch, but they come out here firing, taking all the opportunities that Boise State to give them from the three-point line.
Jump pass from Degenhart. Boise State really moving the ball well here in this first half. It's Degenhart who'll take it himself. Off the rim it goes, and a rebound for Forte. Bush can't handle the pass. It goes right through his hands. Unfortunate turnover for Northwestern State. Leon Rice pleading his case about how defense should or shouldn't be played against his players.
Always seems it does a great job at that. Continual, most games.
Massaging the referees. Stanley's pass knocked back out. Straightaway three for Stanley. And that one will hit front rim. Degenhart had it, lost it. It's going to stay with the Broncos. And it is a 4-point game. Northwestern State sticking around with Boise State as Omar Stanley takes over. Back in Boise, Omar Stanley, the St. John's transfer for the Broncos. He's really made a name for himself here in Boise early on in this season, Nick.
Once he's on the court and out of foul trouble, he's bringing a lot. He's a versatile player. He's also been a real efficient player, shooting the ball from 59% inside, but he just brings that edge, that energy off the bench, and athleticism as well. Leads the team with 9 blocks as well on the defensive end.
It's been cool to see him blossom at Boise State. I know it's early in the season, but he's a St. John's transfer, appeared in 61 games at St. John's, only finished in double figures 6 times. He's played in 9 games for Boise State, already has finished in double figures 5 times. We'll see if he can get to 6 tonight.
Anderson trying to get a 3 on the board for the Broncos. Martin with a good slap out to keep it alive. And clearly Boise State has preached the emphasis of offensive rebounding. Martin trying to muscle his way in for 2.
It's just been a beautiful combination to start the season with the 5-man. Had a few issues over the last couple of years, but with Omar Stanley and Cam Martin in, Leon's got to feel pretty confident at all times in the center position.
It's just the first basket for Martin, although he does have an assist. Mubaru keeps it after the Broncos almost took it away. Bush works off a screen, goes into the middle. That's going to be a travel against Justin Wilson, the senior forward from Dallas, Texas. R.J. King finds Degenhart. That's a dangerous pass, and it is going to be stolen. Forte on the fast break goes right at Keene, does not get the whistle, gets his own rebound, misses that as well.
Offensive rebound must be number 6 or 7 for the Demons. Crashing the glass hard, trying to create second chance opportunities to see turnover with the entry pass to Cam Martin.
That is the 5th turnover for Boise State. That was something that they preached to us this week. Turnovers have to come down.
Well, they learned from the North Texas game with 20 and 12 in the first half. with their defense being one of the best in the nation, but continual theme for the Broncos of protecting the basketball.
Boise State secures that defensive rebound. Prior to that one, though, Northwestern State rebounding 50% of their misses.
Martin had the space, but didn't shoot the three. We've seen him take a couple this year. Thought better of it this time. It's Anderson. He'll give it up, too. It's Keene. And that three won't fall. To Degenhardt it goes, and he's going to score. And a timeout going to be called by Rick Cabrera. Broncos up 29-21, but Northwestern State hasn't scored in the last 3 minutes, and we've seen this a couple of times from the Demons so far. They're very capable of scoring the basketball, but they're also capable of disappearing at some points on the offensive end.
Been shooting the ball okay from the three-point line, just under 30% from the season, but they're going to get their shots up tonight, try to hit some of these threes, and obviously we saw to start the game 3 from 3 to start, but a little lull here as we continue into the first half.
What an effort there by Chibuzo Abo to keep that play alive. Tyson Degenhardt winds up with the layup at the rim. You know, for Tyson tonight, 7 points, 3 of 4 shooting. He started this season, as we mentioned, kind of a number of times on these broadcasts. He had a broken nose, had to wear a mask over the first 5 games of the season. He wasn't really shooting the ball that efficiently. Even if you tried to say the mask didn't really play a role in that, well, if you look at these last 4 games without that mask on, he's shooting nearly 60% from the floor, averaging 18 points per game. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we can kick that mask to the curb. Tyson's a better player without it.
And he's been proven that. Forte dribbles the ball on the end line, and he's going to turn it back over to Boise State. So that is not going to snap the Demons' scoring drought as his right foot just splayed out. And Boise State goes back to work, shooting 58% from the floor. Another pass that is tipped away. Northwestern State is really denying those entry passes into the post.
Again, they're switching up their defense, giving different looks. And their rotations each time are different and catching Boise State off guard.
Forte goes against Keene, gets fouled, and free throws coming for the junior and the Gulf Coast State transfer.
Great attack here, as you see, obviously scoring drought for the last 3 minutes and 45 seconds, but haven't scored a few points. Attack the rim, get to the free throw line.
That one will take a friendly hop and drop in for Forte, who played 2 seasons at Gulf Coast State, 1 at UNC Asheville, where he started and appeared in 28 games. And Abo is going to get the rebound off the free throw miss. Abo with 9 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist here in the first half. Stanley's pass. Luckily, Martin being 6'9", able to reel that in. NBA range 3 for Max Rice.
Just when you thought the Boise State offense was a bit stagnant, Max Rice continuing his hot streak from last game over Western Oregon.
Broncos have their largest lead of the night. Epps just walks in, blows the layup. Rice dishing it off to Stanley. Nice cross-court pass, and who else but Chibuzo Abo to sink another 3.
The shooting over the last 3 games has been insane. 6 from 8, 6 from 9, and now 4 from 6. I mean, those are numbers that you shoot inside the paint, let alone from the three-point line. Just so confident from the three-point line these past couple of games.
I was actually kind of shocked. Both Chibuzo and Max Rice had 6 threes in that last game against Western Oregon. First time in the Leon Rice era that multiple players have made 6 threes in a single game. The reason why I say I'm surprised is because a man to my left over here, Nick Duncan, had 6 threes made 4 times in his career. Apparently he didn't have a partner in crime on any one of those specific nights there, Big Nick.
It would have been good to have a little partner in crime there.
Another O board for Boise State. Abo missed that 3. It was a nice take on the other end, by the way, by Forte. to get that basket, make it 35-24. Martin, good moves, a lot of contact, count the bucket. Cam Martin hits the shot down low, but it's Boise State perimeter assassins here in the first half. Late first half here at ExtraMile Arena. Leonard Berry, Nick Duncan, Jay Tust with you, but it's been Chibuzo Abo who's putting on the best show of the evening. 4 of 7 for 12 points, and he has done all of his damage beyond the arc here, Nick.
Just feels like every time he catches the ball, sets, loads up, the ball is going in. He's got great confidence right now with it, gets a great rhythm, great shot right there. He has a high arc with it, but it's going in efficiently every single game so far.
Prior to the start of the actual games to the season, we sometimes get a sneak peek at these guys in the preseason, and seeing Chibuzo Abo, man, I thought that he would be a guy that could contend for first-team All-Mountain West recognition. I might have to start pushing that a little higher in terms of the hype. The way he's playing to start this season, he might be a legit Player of the Year candidate in the Mountain West Conference this year. Obviously, there are going to be some contenders, namely Isaiah Stevens at Colorado State, but what we've seen out of Chibuzo Abo so far this year is absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, he's been a phenomenal player for Boise State, and that's what Boise State knew they were getting when he came in from Texas Tech. A lot of the slow start for him last year was just the fact that the game was going a little bit too fast for Abo at times. Forte, ball on a string, gets to the rack, second chance putback for Justin Wilson. That's a good finish.
Strong finish there, and again, on the glass. Sure, there might be a message at halftime from the Broncos of finding their player on the defensive rebound and blocking out.
You're not kidding there, Nick. 15 misses, 7 offensive rebounds for Northwestern State, a team that is not gifted with a ton of size, but gifted with a ton of heart.
Rice rattles in another one, and Boise State, 8 of 16 from 3. Leon Rice calls a timeout after the made 3. It's 40-26, so he must want to talk something over with his team, and in fact, he's right in the middle of them, kind of hollering.
Might be something on the defensive glass that he's talking about. But Max Rice, obviously a come-out game last start against Western Oregon. But you can just see a little confidence now. You can see him getting into his shot, lower base, and he's looking at the rim every time he's catching that basketball.
You know what I really appreciate about Max Rice? So oftentimes, whether it be football or even basketball here at Boise State, we kind of get the canned answer, the cliche, if you will. Max Rice is morally against that. At the press conference following that Western Oregon game, he kind of said it tongue-in-cheek, but there was definitely some truth there. After making 6 threes, he said, now everybody in Boise can stop telling me how to play basketball. I don't know who believes they can tell Max Rice how to play basketball. He has been stellar for the Broncos. The kid that came in as a walk-on has developed himself into an all-conference type player.
I don't think I was that confident in the post-game. Post-game, that's for sure.
Forte. 5 on the shot clock. He gets in. Man, these are some hard finishes for Northwestern State. And Chase Forte making it look easy there. Rice thought about letting it go at the hash. Abo will let go from the hash. In and out it goes. Degenhardt on the offensive glass. Loses the ball out of bounds. And a foul is going to be called against Wilson.
Great offense here. It's easy for Jace Whiting. Pass it to Chibuzo or Max Rice, and obviously Tyson Degenhardt camping down low looking for that offensive rebound.
Degenhardt going to make the first free throw. First team All-Mountain West selection last year by both the coaches and the media.
I mentioned, again, Tyson wearing that mask to start the season, just to show you that juxtaposition of his efficiency when it comes to shooting. The first 5 games of the year when he was wearing that mask, he was shooting 41% from the field. Very uncharacteristic of Tyson Degenhardt. But again, these last 4 games, he's upwards of 60%. That's the Tyson Degenhardt the Bronco Nation knows and loves.
Minute left in the first half. Nice find there to set up Justin Wilson for the easy basket for the Demons. Boise State trying to crack this zone. Degenhart with the dump in. Abo, corner three, his 5th of the game. He's got 15 in the first half.
First time in Buzio's career that he's made more than 4 threes in 3 games straight. You can just see the ball moving there from the Broncos now. They're just whipping that ball around, finding that open player, and some confidence in the Broncos offense so far to start the first half.
Not even halftime, and he's already knocked down 5 threes.
What's the record in Boise State for a game? We might be seeing it tonight.
We'll look it up at halftime.
We will definitely be looking that up. Forte fouled from behind with 7.4 on the clock.
I can tell you it's at least 8. You know why? Because Nick had at least 8 in one game. Do you remember what game that was? 8-13?
No idea.
I remember.
When you get further and further removed, it's hard to remember all the games. When you play 30 games a season, I'm sure it gets difficult.
Forte doing a great job for the Demons here. Start the first half, really being aggressive, attacking, really being a shining light for Northwestern State here.
Yeah, Forte having a good game. He's got 5 points, 4 assists. He's been spreading the ball around, but he's going to miss both of his free throws. Broncos, a chance to get points to end the half. Rice to who else? Abo, the 3, front rim, and that is how the half will end. Abo nearly setting himself up for a 4-point play right there, but it's Boise State up by 15 after the first 20 minutes. More to come from ExtraMile Arena. Halftime stats and highlights up next. Halftime at ExtraMile Arena. We welcome you all back on KTVB and the Mountain West Network. Leonard Berry, former Bronco Nick Duckin, and KTVB own Jay Tust here with you as Boise State has the 45-30 lead over Northwestern State here at halftime, and the Broncos can attribute a large portion of their lead in this game to their 3-point shooting, specifically Shabuzo Abo, who's hit 5 of 10 for Boise State.
Before last game, they were 29% from the 3-point line. After the last game, 32%. Now they're increasing it, 9 from 19 from the 3-point line. You can just see the confidence from the Broncos, but it all starts with moving that basketball inside and out, getting paint touches. When you get some crisp pass right there and finding these open hot shooters, that percentage is going to continue to increase.
Yeah, ball movement and shot selection for the Broncos. It's been elite these last couple of games. They're either getting easy looks at the rim or wide open looks from 3. I feel like that's been a key part to their offensive success. By the way, try to say shot selections 3 times fast.
Well, Shabuzo Abo currently right now on pace to tie the single-game three-pointers made record for Boise State. That's 10 set by Jeff Eloriaga back in 2012. And another three-point shooter who had a great job, he's sitting across the table from us, Abe Jackson. He hit 9 back in 2000. But Boise State's got to clean up their work on the glass. It's been Northwestern State getting a lot of offensive rebounds so far in this game.
As we mentioned earlier, 11.6 offensive rebounds per game this year. But they've come out being aggressive, attacked the rim, shot some threes, but a lot of their offense coming from second chance opportunities.
It's been second chance points for Northwestern State and good three-point shooting that's kept them in this game. But it's the Broncos who lead by 15. And so it is Boise State looking to keep that advantage here in the second half. More to come at halftime here on the Mountain West Network and KTVB. Back at halftime here inside ExtraMile Arena. Boise State leading Northwestern State. The Demons wrapping up a 7-game road trip, furthest game of the road trip and the season for Northwestern State. They'll be excited to get back to Natchitoches, Louisiana. Some eye-popping stats here in the first half, Jay. Boise State offensively, 60% from the floor, nearly 50% from 3.
You know, it was a big emphasis as Boise State returned from that long road trip to kind of get things going on offense, and we anticipated shooting on the home rims would help. I don't think that we anticipated this necessarily, Leonard. They have been so efficient, nearly 60% overall, 47% from 3. It's tough to expect much more than that.
And Nick, free throws, a struggle for both teams, kind of surprisingly here in this first half.
In the Leon Rice era, free throws are a big thing at him to practice, and I'm sure he circled that, obviously underperforming there and rebounding. Only out-rebounded three times this year to start. So obviously they'll want to continue that and make it number 4 for this game.
One of the things that the coaching staff for Boise State will love going into the break, they've made 16 of 27 shots. Of those 16 makes, 11 of them have been assisted, with every player in the starting lineup picking up at least 1 assist. That is a big principle of Boise State basketball, and they're accomplishing that so far here in the first half.
That's the identity of the Broncos over the last couple of seasons, even since Boise State started. But moving the basketball, finding that open player, it's magical how many shots go in when you share the basketball and just find that open player.
Getting that ball popping, right? That's what Mike Burns told us earlier this week. That is Boise State basketball. That is what they need to see in order to get back to their winning ways.
It's helped Boise State out to the 15-point advantage at the end of the first half. We'll see if the Broncos continue it. More to come at halftime. Six and 3 Broncos hosting the 1-8 Northwestern State Demons. Boise State with the lead at the half here in the city of trees, and the Broncos closing things out in the non-conference. Just a couple games left to go for Boise State. 3 more after tonight, and then they're going to get into conference play. Of course, the big one remaining on the schedule, the neutral site matchup against Washington State in Spokane for Boise State.
Quote-unquote neutral site matchup. Boise State essentially going into Spokane to play a road game against a Washington State team that necessarily hasn't played a super difficult schedule, but some of their metrics are very favorable, namely the net. That'll be a tough matchup for the Broncos.
I don't know if the Boise State are looking at the schedule, but obviously if they win tonight, record 19 wins in a row at home. I don't know if they're looking ahead, but they'll have a good chance to get that record here at their next game against Cal State Fullerton.
And then for Boise State, going to move into conference play, and boy, is it going to be a difficult season in the Mountain West for the Boise State Broncos. Some tough games, of course. San Diego State, always a difficult matchup. Colorado State, top 18 in the country at the moment.
I feel like we talk about this every single year, the Mountain West Conference being one of the powerhouse non-Power 5 schools, but 5 teams inside the net rankings, number 52, obviously led by Colorado State at 16, New Mexico 24. It's going to be a battle every single game for the Broncos.
I know it looks weird seeing Boise State even down at 114. It's interesting. The Mountain West has gotten so good. Usually you'd have to strengthen that net ranking outside of conference play, but it's so good now you see teams climb. As you said, Nick, you look at Colorado State, New Mexico, San Diego State, Utah State, all hovering around inside the top 30. The Mountain West is going to be an absolute gauntlet this year.
The Mountain West will be tough, and I think there's quite a few teams that maybe surprise people. You look at a Utah State, again, we mentioned they're one of the teams that didn't return a single player who scored a point last year. Ryan Odom left, went to VCU. Boise State enacted a little revenge on his squad earlier this season in Florida, but for Boise State, tough Mountain West slate coming up. They can't look past this one, though. Second half to come against Northwestern State. 20 minutes to go inside ExtraMile Arena. Appreciate you joining us on this Tuesday night, however you may be watching on the Mountain West Network and KTVB. Leonard Berry with Nick Duncan and Jay Tuss. Been a lot of fun so far here in the first half, and we can only hope that that fun will continue on into the second half. Two teams that can really score the basketball and proven it so far here tonight.
I think the Demons are going to come out strong here and really try to attack, cut into this deficit, see if they can get into single digits. And Boise State, see if they continue their hot streak from behind the three-point line. Demons looking to match up in the 2-3 zone a lot, so the Broncos can exploit inside and out.
You mentioned the Broncos really sharing the basketball tonight. In the Leon Rice era, the Broncos have won 69.3% of their games when they hit double-digit assists, right? When they fail to get to that clip, they're 48 and 59. 10 assists, kind of a magic number for this offense.
Tough stats. Live.
Again, that's in the Leon Rice era. Makes a lot of sense, though. As we've mentioned, one of the things they really pride themselves on, moving the ball, sharing it, popping the basketball.
Davis rejected by Degenhardt.
He's not the most athletic player, but
right.
The last couple of games, 3 dunks last game. See the guy playing up a little bit. He can spring sometimes when he wants to.
You're reading my mind, man. First time in his career he's ever had multiple dunks in a game, let alone 3 over on Saturday. And, yeah, getting up right there, rejecting that one out of bounds. Maybe the prettiest block of Tyson's career.
Northwestern State does keep it. Forte with 5 on the shot clock. That's a contested shot. Good defense by Abo.
Yeah.
He's really rounded in on the defensive end for Boise State.
You saw in that defensive rebound, too. Tyson and Stanley both boxing out, allowing Max to just go and corral that thing off the floor.
Ball is still loose, and it's going to end up in the hands of Davis. Bush for Davis, the 3. Back iron. I think they're going to call a foul on Max Rice here. There is a foul on the floor, and it does go against Boise State's 6-year senior.
Northwestern, they just do a great job of, once that ball goes in the air, they're all looking at the boards, a couple of them inside the paint. And as we've mentioned, 8th offensive rebound in this game tonight. Look to continue to create second chance opportunities.
The thing about that, too, is you think that maybe sometimes that would create some run out, some fast breaks going the other way, but that really hasn't been the case.
Shot won't fall for Wilson. Just 2 fast break points for Boise State. Northwestern State has 9. This is Anderson off the glass. No, but it's tapped out to Rice. Nice find. Again, Boise State just moving the ball. Not settling here tonight for just a look. Bush nearly lost it off that screen. 3 ball in and out for Braylon Bush. Rice trailing. Degenhart gets 1 in the air, gets 2 in the air, and scores.
With the flex. We mention it so time and time again, but his footwork down low, the ability to get 1-2 guys off their feet and draw that foul. Might not be athletic, but his IQ's up there with many of them.
Last year, at times, he was forced into playing the 5 just due to the personnel that they had. It'll be interesting to see how much fresher he'll be at the end of the season without having to kind of endure that banging down low by having to play the 5 at times this year.
Probably don't need 38 minutes a game out of him this year either, with the depth that Boise State has. Davis to the corner. Bush has an open look, and he's not going to cash in.
Demons playing some great offense. They just can't buy a bucket and get one to knock down.
Abo can't get that one. Degenhart thought maybe. 20-point lead for Boise State. Davis, hesitation. They're going to wave that off and call it on the floor. Another foul against Max Rice. That is his 3rd. And that means Andrew Meadow is going to come in for Boise State.
Another lineup we might not have seen. Meadows, Degenhart, and Omar Stanley going with a more taller lineup out here.
A little fighting between Epps and Stanley. Officials aren't having any of this. And Meadow is a guy that I think Leon Rice really wants to give more minutes to, but it's also really hard to find the minutes to give when he's playing behind a guy like Tyson Degenhart.
I mean, you bring up a great point. Highly scouted freshman out of California, and likes of Tyson Degenhart, Chibuzo, Omar Stanley. And I'm sure Leon will get him in the game as much as he can. Freshman brings a lot of energy on the court.
They gave a foul to Omar Stanley there during all of that commotion that was happening in the paint. So Stanley picks up his first foul. And now we got a foul away from the ball. There's a lot of banging going on. It's getting chippy. Anderson's upset. So is Jamil Lane. And now the officials are going to get with both teams and talk to the players as we look at the contact down in the paint. Anderson all over Lane.
See it every night. Bit of banging, shoving. Obviously, refs want to keep the game under control, but...
And now it's a foul against Abo. The officials are getting rather irritated here. They actually called the foul on Stanley. It was Abo who, I think, got the elbow to the face there, but they called the foul against Stanley instead, so he just picked up 2 fouls in a matter of seconds.
One way to stop the banging. Call 4 fouls in a row.
I will say this, so that's got to be a learning experience, a growing moment for Omar Stanley. This team needs him on the floor. I understand there's frustrations, but you can't let him boil over.
And Epps scores. Might be the little spark that Northwestern State needed. In that 30-second sequence, it went foul on Rice, foul on Stanley, foul on Anderson, foul on Stanley. And then Northwestern State bucket. Degenhart has to corral that one. Freshman Meadow. Abo. That is a defensive breakdown, and the Demons do not pay for it. Davis, straightaway 3. That one's in.
You just mentioned that tussling there. It's one thing where the rhythm of the game's going for the Broncos. 4 foul calls, and now Demons on a 5-0 run. Just feel that energy and tide of the game changing.
12 points now for Davis, shooting 50% from the floor. Late shot clock here for Boise State. It's Anderson to Meadow. The 3-ball out of the corner. Degenhart on the offensive glass for more second chance points. Degenhart scores, and Degenhart showing off the strength. Boise State called a timeout after the made basket, 52-35. They lead it. Having fun on Tuesday night. Leonard Berry, Jay Tuss, Nick Duncan with you. And for Boise State, about all you can ask for from Shabuzo Abo and Tyson Degenhart. 16 points for Degenhart, 15 for Abo. They're leading the way, and they have been efficient in doing so.
Tyson Degenhart coming out strong in the second half, 3 from 4 from the court. See Leon calling a timeout. Sure, just something to keep the tempers cool, get through this game. See Northwestern State getting some ruffle and tuffle and changing the game, bringing it to the Broncos, but a little timeout to cool off the team.
I'll say one stat line we could probably easily overlook, but I'm not going to hear. Roddy Anderson, looking for him to take better care of the basketball. He's ticking upwards of 17 minutes in this game. 0 turnovers for him. Sure, only 3 points and only 1 assist, but hey, he set up Andrew Meadow in that last corner 3 perfectly. Meadow just couldn't knock it down.
Offensive foul called against Jamison Epps, and that is going to send us to another timeout. It's the Broncos with the lead and the ball. 6-3 Broncos looking to defend their home court. And you look at Boise State this season, the average opponent and net rankings, Broncos second in the country. You add up the 9 teams that Boise State's played so far, 71st is the average net ranking of all those teams. The only team ahead of them, Texas Southern. Texas Southern hasn't won a game this season.
Western Oregon last game was their first team played in the net ranking outside of the top 100, and we spoke about it last game. Leon Rice obviously focusing on a toughest strength of schedule, but I assume that 114 net of their own might be a bit lopsided there, considering they played such a strong opponents.
As long as we're kind of maybe considering transitive property for a second here, St. Mary's, Boise State beat them by 3. St. Mary's just handed Colorado State their first loss of the season,
Another bucket for Degenhart.
I know that's not necessarily the way that it works in college sports, but that's what we're left with at this point in time, at least until early January when you get to see the Broncos and Rams on this very court.
Well, luckily for us, we'll get 2 chances. January 9th, Colorado State comes to town. Boise State goes to Fort Collins. Nice finish there by Bush. They'll be at Colorado State February 6th So 2 chances there for Boise State to maybe prove that the win over St. Mary's will mean something more than just on paper. Colorado State, of course, missing a couple of key players for that game, played St. Mary's very tough. And like we talked about earlier, the Mountain West is going to be a battle this year. Everybody can certainly beat everyone from the top to the bottom. Degenhardt's wide open. Make it an even 20 for Degenhardt.
Simple plays. Some are relayed from the coaches after the North Texas game, but Boise State finding the open plays, especially in that 2-3 zone. Easiest bucket of Tyson Degenhardt's career.
Cam Martin leads the team in assists on the season and once again leads the team in assists tonight.
Free ball from Jay Slack doesn't go down. How about Degenhardt? 20 points, 8 of 10 shooting, 19 minutes on the court. That's as good as it gets. Try to get it into him. Martin forced that bounce pass. It was knocked out of bounds. Broncos 57% from the floor as a team. They've hovered around that all night. That's where they were in the first half, and it just has not come down.
Continuing theme, 14 assists on 21 made buckets as well. Get that field goal to assist ratio up towards that 67-70% range.
Whiting, nobody comes and picks him up. He's got a wide open 3, assisted by Degenhardt.
Really see the change of his aggressiveness sitting second half of University of North Texas game, but he's come out the last couple of games, been super strong. When he's been open, he shot the ball. It's what the Boise State Broncos are looking for from their point guard.
Davis snatches back into a 3. It's a tough shot, doesn't go. Rebound for Martin. Boise State had 2 20-point scores against Western Oregon in Abo and Rice. That was the first time the Broncos had done that. A blocking foul is called there against Slack. First time that Boise State had done that since last year when Shaver and Najee Smith had 22 and 20 in Reno in a Boise State loss. Broncos have a chance to make it back-to-back games. Abo needs just 5 points to hit the 20-point mark.
You mentioned last game, Tyson Degenhardt with 18. Not sure when the last time the Broncos had 3 scorers in the 20-point range, but 70 points between those 3 guys out of the 109 points scored.
The big 3 for Boise State, if you will.
Second free throw coming up here for Martin, and he'll make that one. Good job on controlling the basketball for Boise State so far tonight as well. Just 6 turnovers in this game. Big emphasis for them was ball security, and they've done a fantastic job of that so far. As they get another steal, it's Meadow who takes it away. Got a foul on the floor. Meadow makes the 3. It's not going to count.
Smart foul by the Demons.
Yeah, right. That was awfully close. I do think it was right, though. Right as he gathered, you could hear the whistle.
Foul was on Wilson for running into Martin in the paint. Looked like he was afraid of giving up the wide open, too. Cross-court pass from Rice. Another drive, 5 on the shot clock, and that ball thrown in the wrong area. Tried to find Meadow, couldn't do it.
Broncos being too unselfish there. A few wide open looks there. Turning into a turnover. Not a bad turnover to have.
Bush, pass to Wilson for the slam, and a South Carolina State transfer gets up and throws down.
Beautiful play there, pick and roll action. Done a great job of attacking the rim tonight. We'll need to continue doing that in the second half here.
Boise State just rotating around the perimeter. Trying to get the Demons moving in this zone. Quick passes. Martin to the hoop. Nice stuff between Degenhardt and Martin.
That's how you attack a zone. Get that ball moving side to side. Get defenders moving. It's going to create gaps inside, and you can see Boise State moving the ball super quick.
Slack wanted that one, doesn't get it. Rice, wing three, give him 3 more. Rice with his 3rd three-pointer, and a timeout called by Rick Cabrera. Broncos all over the Demons here in the second half. Just about 11 minutes left to go in the second half, and Tyson Degenhart has already put on a show in the second half. You look at those numbers here in the first 9 minutes, that is some impressive stuff from Degenhart.
Just seems to find the open gap, especially in this 2-3 zone played by Northwestern State. Well, that's what happens when you shoot the ball well from the three-point line. Got guys closing out hard, opens up in the middle here, and he's done a great job just finding that open gap. See here, wide open layup, see for Tyson Degenhart.
Tyson has 20 points in the ball game, 4 of those points at the free throw line, 12 of them on layups.
Can't complain about that. Obviously shoots the ball very well from the three-point line, but Jabuzo and Max Rice taking care of that, getting himself inside, and also on the offensive glass.
Junior forward from Spokane, Washington. He really is Boise State's pillar of consistency. You know he's going to play well night in and night out. He's going to give you a chance to win. Forte into the post for Wilson. Good matchup here between him and Martin fouls him.
Demons doing a great job getting that ball inside, being aggressive. Haven't made too many shots in the second half, but they continue to get that ball inside and put some foul pressure on the Broncos, up to 6 now.
The way these two teams have shot it from 3, you would assume they'd be a little more efficient at the free throw line. Northwestern State now just 2 of 7 at the charity stripe. Boise State only 6 of 11 at the free throw line.
Yeah, it's been some tough going at the free throw line. And that's going to be a miss on both. Earlier today, we had the women's game, Rocky Mountain College against Boise State. Both those teams at the end of the first half were shooting below 40% the free throw line. Both ended up shooting over 70, but something about free throws at ExtraMile Arena today. Not been kind. Rice is wide open, wants another 3. Can't hit that one. He'll try it a second time. That one's going to be off. Hey, why not a 3rd? He's going to pass this one up. Martin, baseline spin. Good footwork.
Mentioned Cam Martin, transfer from Kansas, but he was a scorer. Scoring 2,040 points at Missouri Southern State. So he has the ability to get inside, not only just a passer, but can bang down low as well, getting some much-needed buckets for the Broncos.
Bush draws the defense, kicks to Forte. That is pretty basketball.
Ends a 13-2 run by the Broncos. Boise State has made 7 out of their last 9 shots.
And Nick, to kind of put a period on your point, Cam Martin is currently the number 4 active player in the country in terms of scoring, 2,226 career points for him. So definitely a guy who knows a thing or two about scoring the basketball.
You just look at some of his stats, 43 double-doubles, 56 20-point games. Missouri State, Southern State, I should say. See a turnover here by the Broncos.
Broncos 7 of their last 9, having an incredible night shooting the basketball here at ExtraMile Arena. That one had a lot of zip on it from Epps, and it went right past Cliff Davis, who was open on the back cut. That'll be the 9th turnover for the Demons, 8 for Boise State. Been a really well-played game. Martin, he wanted to rock the rim. He'll take the soft touch and get his own rebound for the second chance points.
He wanted to go up strong there, but great footwork, get them up in the air. Did a great job attacking the rim, showing his versatility, not only distributing the ball, but scoring some points.
Just his first miss of the game. Mubaru for three, and he's got it. Chris Mubaru, the freshman from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, gets a three-pointer to fall. And he is 2 for 2 from beyond the arc. He's got 6 points.
Braylon Bush really taking over this offense, setting up some of these players with 2 assists in back-to-back possessions. There we see Omar Stanley rock the rim.
Right-handed jam for Stanley Bush, going right back to the other end, won't go. That was thunderous from Stanley. Anderson's open for three, and the Demons are just out of sorts on the defensive end. Timeout called by their head coach. Rick Cabrera wants to talk things over. Broncos up by a bundle as Stanley brings down the house. Exceptional offensive performance from Boise State as they lead Northwestern State and look well on their way to tying the program record 19-game home win streak. Boise State has won 18 straight games at home dating back to last year against Utah Valley, and with a win tonight, Boise State would tie the program record at 19, up nearly 30 points. That looks like it's got a great chance of happening with just 8 minutes left in the game.
Makes Sunday's game pretty interesting. Watch the Boise State football team go down, take on UCLA in the ALA Bowl, and then maybe come back and make a little history here for the men's basketball team on Sunday afternoon.
Great weekend of Bronco sports.
Yeah. Nick, we were just talking about this during the break, but Omar Stanley catching the ball 20 feet away from the rim, being able to put it on the deck, go up and finish. I don't know if the Broncos have had a true five that can do that in the Leon Rice era. Not somebody playing the five, but a true five that could do that.
Don't really think we've had one, and seeing Cam Martin on the possession before, he looked like he wanted to do the same thing. So having two on the same team, it's pretty special to have two guys that can do that for the Broncos and exchange in and out throughout the whole game.
Martin, he can also shoot the three. He's going for it.
There he is.
That's the second time he's really tried to fly in there and slam it home, but he gets fouled on this one.
You can see Boise State's also put themselves in a position now, up 30 with 7.5 minutes to go. Once again, kind of experimenting with things. When Tyson Degenhart got in foul trouble early, surprisingly, against Western Oregon, they put Cam Martin and Omar Stanley in the game at the same time, allowed Martin to kind of operate at the four. I don't think this is a lineup you're going to see a ton because Tyson Degenhart's going to play a lot of minutes for this team. But Mike Burns was telling us, just in case that has to happen, they wanted to get Martin some run at the four tonight.
He's done a nice job for Boise State as he makes another free throw. Broncos trying to get that free throw percentage up, coming to the game shooting 71% as a team from the free throw line. Sitting at 54% right now, so not exactly what they want it to be. Three ball from Davis, and man, smooth shooter. 15 points.
It's an encouraging sign for the Demons here. Davis coming off strong first half and shooting the ball real well for Northwestern State.
Max Rice shooting it well too. That's his fourth three-pointer. He's got 12.
It's crazy to think before last game we're shooting the ball below 20% from the three-point line, but it's magical how a couple just go through that hoop and confidence is just right back where he started last year.
Up over 30% on the season now. It happened in a hurry, Nick.
Davis answers back with another three. This is a junior from Thomasville, Georgia, played at Chipola CC, 2 years there. He scored 10.9 points per game. He comes to Northwestern State and scoring 16.
That's a really good community college down in Florida.
Anderson blocked, and they're going to call a goaltend.
Yeah, just getting back to Roddy's game. I mean, had a really nice contest so far tonight. 20 minutes, 1 assist, could have more. A couple guys knocked down a couple more buckets, but 0 turnovers, 8 points. I think this is a really, really nice stepping stone for a guy that they need in Mountain West Conference play if they want to contend for a title.
Talk about Chibuzo's obviously slow start last year as a transfer. That's just what happens when you move programs, obviously buying into a new system, but talking to the Boise State coaches, he is 100% bought into this team, understands that he needed to get better after first 5-6 games of the year, and he's really turned it around here in the last couple of games.
And I know that Leon Rice really prides his program on being a developmental program. So this will be a live action scenario where we're going to have to see Roddy Anderson develop in season.
Abo on the glass, 2 more. That's the first basket he scored inside the three-point arc.
Why do you need to go inside the arc?
And when you're Abo, when you're Davis, why not? Davis 6 of 11 from 3. Abo 5 of 12 from 3.
Broncos might be running out of time, but 18 points shy of 100 with 5.5 minutes remaining.
Davis gets the rebound. Forte. Mubaru in trouble here underneath the hoop. Good job of escaping and resetting the offense with Cliff Davis. Chase Forte blocked by Abo, but it'll stay on the left end.
Been no give up from the Demons here tonight, continuing to attack. As we see here, great defensive play by Chibuzo Abo, but they're continuing to attack, try to cut into this deficit late in the second half.
This is going to be a team that you think definitely will make some waves in the Southland Conference. A lot of talent on this year's squad for this Northwestern State team. Anderson carries through to the hoop, and he scores.
It's what the Broncos have been waiting for from Anderson. He's got that athleticism, one of the more athletic point guards we've seen in program history, and trying to fill some big boots with Marcus Schaefer graduating last year.
Step back from the free throw line, but that's off to the right for Slack.
Those 10 points for Roddy, by the way, the most he's ever scored, rocking the blue and orange uniform. Only a sophomore, still 2 more years of eligibility after this.
Stanley in the middle. They're going to call that a held ball. And the possession arrow points to Boise State. The Broncos will keep it when we come back. 84-51. Boise State in the lead with just under 4 to go in the second half. Boise State faithful still hanging out here on this Tuesday evening. And we appreciate you hanging out with us, whether you're watching on KTVB or the Mountain West Network, wherever you may be watching. Leonard Berry, Nick Duncan, Jay Tust, bringing you non-conference basketball between Boise State and Northwestern State. It's been a good game for the Broncos and for Northwestern State. Good shooting to start. They've hung around, but Boise State just 60% from the floor. Hard for any team to compete when you let a team shoot 60%.
Exactly right, Leonard. Moving the basketball, 16 assists, make that 17 assists, 54% from the three-point line.
Anderson had to put it up. It was late in the shot clock. Mosilla had it, lost it, gets it back. This is Martin looking around. Tries to feed Silla. And Whiting is going to get tapped up, nearly went in. A couple of strange sequences there.
Going to see Mo Silla get some minutes here for Boise State. Kind of stuck down on the depth chart behind Cam Martin and Omar Stanley, but he's a guy that they really want to come along because they know they're going to need him at some point in time this season.
This is Davis. That is a three-pointer that is made. Thought maybe there could have been a foul against Roddy Anderson. It wasn't called.
And the ball has been in his hands. Good things happen. And make 3 to start the game, and confidence has been sky high for him in this game against Boise State.
Davis at 21 points on 7 of 12 shooting. Andrew Meadow gets a bucket.
Go back to Muhammad Silla. Sounds like he's been having some great practices, and as you mentioned, Jay, obviously Cam Martin, Omar Stanley, 6'9". It's going to be great to develop him in case they need him against a strong center in Mountain West play.
Mubaru can't hit that three. Silla, the fifth year, 6'11", 243 pounds. As Anderson scores again, and Roddy Anderson, this might be the game for him. things look like they're slowing down for him out there on the court.
I loved it there because he sped it up. Just attacked the rack, right? His best game as a Bronco, without a doubt. And maybe the most impressive stat column for him, 0 turnovers in 22 minutes. But kind of coming to life on offense. 12 points in the ball game, but if you look at what he's done in the second half, 9 of those in the second half alone.
Yeah, Anderson's been playing really well, 5 of 8 from the floor. Like you've mentioned a couple of times tonight, Jay, just the 1 assist, but he set his teammates up with some really good passes. And I think the one thing that's really changed for him compared to the first couple of weeks of the season to now is when he's getting his dribble drive penetration, his first look is to pass, whereas the first couple of games of the year, first look was to shoot.
But that's part of the growing process for him and what he did last year at a school that didn't win a lot of basketball games. He was simply asked to go out and just score, right? And so now he's learning his role on a really, really talented team. They're asking him to make championship plays, championship types of decisions. It's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but as we've seen, that learning curve starting to flatten out.
Just an immense amount of talent, too. You knew it would come around for him. In the same vein for Max Rice. You knew for both of them it was going to come around. And this week has really been kind of the shining star for the pair of them, and hoping that they'll continue the positive play. Martin down low to Silla. And the man from Ivory Coast slams it home.
Maybe 3 bigs that can get up like that?
I guess so. That's got to do a ton for his confidence. You can tell the bench just erupted after he threw that thing down.
Martin's looking for him again. Has to go to Meadow instead. Just about a minute left. It's Meadow. Can't get the 3.
1 minute remaining in the game.
Bush with the give and go. Jump stop. 360 pass. There to Epps. Nice pivot on the baseline, but better defense by Silla. Kobe Young, he scores, he's fouled, and the Broncos continue to add on.
Great transition basketball here by the Broncos. Kobe Young. I have high expectations of him to continue to be in this program. And don't be surprised to see him come off the bench in some big games. Versatile frame. Athletic, he can guard the ball well, he can shoot the ball well from 3. Wouldn't be surprised to see him contribute big in some big games here in the Mountain West Conference.
Hey, Kobe's struggling to get minutes. I think it shows you how deep this team is.
Kobe might be the most athletic guy
He might be.
on the roster.
If a football game broke out, he'd be the guy that would be drafted first overall.
Well, he's a guy who had a chance to be on a college playoff team as Meadow scores. It's another assist from Cam Martin. Kobe Young had an offer from the University of Washington to go play football when he was coming out of Chiawana High School in Eastern Washington and decided to come play basketball for Boise State. Bush going to work here, 10 on the clock. Good drive. And Lane will come up short on the 3. Martin and Young will fuss over who gets the rebound. It goes to Martin. And if they stat it to Cam Martin, he's going to end up with a double-double tonight with 12 points and 10 rebounds. We'll wait to see on the final stats. Martin's going to finish the night at least with 12 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. So a great win for Boise State, 95-54. And the Broncos, on a 19-game home winning streak, they have tied the longest win streak in program history.
And I only think that streak's going to continue here for the Broncos, but amazing performance, going deep into the bench, getting some guys some extra minutes here towards the end of the game.
Great stuff by Boise State. We'll be back with post-game interviews and more on the Mountain West Network and KTVB. Post-game at ExtraMile Arena, Boise State takes down Northwestern State 95-54. And joining us here at the table is Boise State forward Cam Martin. Cam, another great game for you guys here tonight. You get the big win. You shoot 60% from the field as a team. You lead the team with 6 assists. Ball seemed like it was moving. How did it feel like you were getting it in and out of your hands?
Yeah, no, we were just playing very unselfish, looking for the next play. As the season goes on, we're continuing to play with each other better and learn how each other plays. And like Coach says, you don't want to peak in November, December, and I think this team has a lot of ways we can improve, and we're improving every day.
More along with those assists. 26 last game, 19 tonight. Talk a little bit about the unselfishness of this team and how it's really springboarded the offense, especially from the three-point line.
That was a big emphasis. We talked about it a lot on that road trip we had in Orlando. We weren't getting many assists, and we were getting killed rebounding, and that's a disaster right there if I've ever seen one. So we were just trying to move the ball and get everybody involved.
Cam, you look at your stat line tonight: 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. I'm gonna compare you to some basketball royalty here at Boise State, right? In terms of the guys in the Leon Rice era that have had 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in a single game, Tyson Degenhart, Marcus Shaver Jr., Abu Kijab, Chandler Hutchison, and Anthony Drimmick. I mean, you can make a Mount Rushmore of Boise State basketball, throw those names on it. How happy are you with your balanced effort tonight?
It's honored to be compared to some of the guys that have came here and had a legacy at Boise State. So it's just awesome to be compared to that, and I'm excited for the rest of the season.
How good does it feel just to be playing basketball again?
It has a huge weight off my shoulder. 2 years is a long
time.
It's an emotional roller coaster. So just coming here, getting a fresh start, getting to clear my head, and just still getting rhythm, and there's a lot left in the tank, so I'm excited for the rest of the year.
Well, we appreciate it, Cam. We appreciate your time. Congrats on the victory, and we look forward to see what you do on Sunday against Cal State Fullerton.
Thanks, appreciate y'all.
Cam Martin for Boise State. Broncos win it 95-54 as Boise State takes down Northwestern State. 17-3 run at the end of the game. Broncos hit 13 three-pointers here in this contest. The three-point shooting was hot from the start. Chibuzo Abo really got things going for the Broncos, and it seemed like he just springboarded everybody else along with him.
I think we just have to go back to the assists. I know we've been harping on it, but the Broncos have just done a great job of finding their open player. I think that's really enhanced the shot-making abilities for Max Rice, get him going off a slow start to the season. And obviously, Arbo, got to be one of the hottest shooters in the country so far. Super efficient from the three-point line, and I feel like every time he lifts that ball up to shoot a shot, it's going to go in.
Yeah, Boise State now 95 points in back-to-back games. That's a big-time number for the Broncos. You go back over the last, 13 years, Boise State's hit that point total now 26 times. The last time they did it in back-to-back games, now it was the year we all want to forget about, 2020, a COVID year, where they did it in Mountain West play in back-to-back games. San Jose State, the victim in that case. But it is certainly encouraging to see not only their ability to shoot it at a high clip, but the balanced scoring effort once again. Tonight, 5 guys in double figures. We saw 4 against Western Oregon. Cam Martin, Roddy Anderson, Tyson Degenhart led the way with 20. Chibuzo Abo, 17 points. Max Rice, 12 points. The balanced effort of this team is going to make them extremely dangerous if they can keep it up against some stiffer competition that looms in the near future.
And I think you touch a good point there of just the depth of this team, and a lot of speculation and expectations from this team in the offseason with the amount of depth bringing in. Past years, Leon's decided 6, 7, 8 guys, trusting those guys, and in this year, he really has to go to the bench, and talking to Tyson Degenhart, especially on the offseason, 32, 34 minutes for those guys with a lot of energy and minutes from the bench. I think it's going to really enhance their ability to make deep runs into March. Hopefully win that first game in the NCAA tournament.
And we all know in Mountain West play, like 38 minutes that they log sometimes, that is like a war, right? Those are all-out 38 tough minutes when you're playing on the road at the pit, going over to Moby Arena, heading down to play at San Diego State. Those are tough minutes. So to try to spell those early in the season, I think that is a key to success as this program tries to take that next step, and the next step is a win in March Madness.
And looking back at my career, obviously as a player, you want to be on the court as much as possible, producing as much. But, if I was to go back, I'd try to play 32 minutes a game, save some time, play 100% the whole time.
And one of the things you mentioned, Jay, the altitude. Really, nobody for Northwestern State has played at altitude. Boise, certainly not one of the highest places in the Mountain West. But for a lot of these guys on this Northwestern State team coming over from the East Coast, around sea level, maybe a couple hundred feet in the air, Cliff Davis was not affected whatsoever tonight. 7 of 15 from the floor, 7 of 14 on three-pointers, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. He played out of his mind, and like I said earlier, Northwestern State in the Southland Conference, this is a team that can make some noise. They finished second in the Southland last year, lost their head coach, lost every single player, sans one, and they come out tonight and put in a really strong effort against a Boise State team that a lot of people are predicting to do big things over the course of the Mountain West season and potentially in March. So for Northwestern State, you look at the final score, I don't think it's indicative of how well they played this evening.
Totally agree with you there. And as you mentioned, Cliff Davis obviously coming out strong. 3 from the three-point line to start, and he really brought that energy, aggressiveness as well. But as you mentioned, they got a lot of guys on their team that can bring a lot. Chase Forte, Jason Epps, I was really impressed with his game, really getting to the glass. And overall, they hit the offensive glass more than anything, and if they continue to bring that effort, they're going to win some games here in their conference.
Yeah, really, really impressed with what we saw out of Cliff Davis. And 7 threes tonight. Yeah, that's tied for third most that the Broncos have ever allowed ever since Leon Rice draped the whistle around his neck and took over here with the Broncos. That's a big-time effort for a kid. And by the way, all those other efforts, these are Power 5 essential programs or Mountain West teams. That's a big-time effort for Davis.
Second straight game for Davis with 7 3-pointers as you see the preseason poll for men's basketball. And boy, how much is Colorado State and Utah State really shaking this thing up the way they've played in the non-conference? I think right now you look at where those two teams are and where New Mexico is, Nevada is. I think if everyone voted today, we would be looking at a topsy-turvy poll.
Might be a little different on there. Obviously, net rankings, Colorado State, number 16, and Utah State, 31. And we spoke about tonight with Northwestern State obviously bringing back 0 players with 0 points. That's the same with Utah State as well. And they've done a great job of rebuilding that program with a lot of guys leaving. And I think that list would be completely different.
I know we look at this, and I had a media poll vote, and I was trying to figure out Colorado State. Yeah, they lost some guys, but they have Isaiah Stevens. But I'm thinking, are they 5? Are they 6? Well, they might be 1 when all is said and done because they're that talented of a team. But Boise State checking in at number 2 right here. I will say this, Nick. When I was filling this out, it was hard for me to put Wyoming too high. I put them at 10 in my poll, and I'm like, Jeff Linder's team is definitely going to finish higher than 10.
Absolutely. He might be a little offensive with number 10, but you look at that list right there, there's a lot of teams there that can really progress throughout the season. And, when you look at that list, how many teams do you think might make March Madness?
Oh, there's 6 or 7 that are going to try to have a say in it. And then you go down to the Mountain West Conference tournament, and it's going to just be an all-out brawl.
Well, a guy who's made the NCAA tournament in his first 2 seasons here joins us, Tyson Degenhart. Tyson leading the team with 20 points tonight, 8 of 10 from the floor. Seems like your efficiency improves every single night. What allowed you to get so many easy baskets today?
I think we had some great ball. Is my mic on? Oh, there we go. We had really great ball movement. They threw a lot of zone at us, so we had a great idea of what they were going to do, and we got to the high post and threw it down. We threw it across. We had a lot of assists. I think we had 19, so that was a really big emphasis for us, and it worked out.
We have obviously seen the three-point shooting percentage increase the last 2 games. Obviously, Max coming out and Jabuzo as well. But what's really enlightened those guys from the three-point line?
It helps our offense. When they're making shots, it brings our defenders out, gives us a lot more space to drive and post up. And so, anytime you can get your shooters going, it always helps your offense.
You can make stats say pretty much whatever you want them to say. But in this case, Tyson, you started the season with that mask. You were shooting like 41%. And now over these last 4 games without the mask, you're upwards of 60%. Do you feel better without that thing on?
Yeah, it's something you can't really explain how it feels. It's there. It's annoying. I'm glad it's off, though.
You look at Cam Martin, man. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists tonight. That is a very rare stat line for a Boise State basketball player. We've seen it achieved in the past by guys like, you yourself, but Marcus Shaver Jr., Chandler Hutchison, Abu Kijab. How talented is Cam Martin?
Man, he's just scratching the surface. to get him from Kansas and have him come into our offense, it just makes our offense that much better with a guy who can pass the rock as well as he can and can score in the post.
Talk about another player that had a great game tonight, Anderson. What's he been bringing in practice past few weeks? Obviously, a slow start for him, but obviously the Broncos and the team are really going to rely on him moving forward.
Absolutely. I think he's just getting more comfortable in our offense, finding his role, and he played with great pace tonight. I think he used his speed really well and then slowed up and found the open guy, and he had to have had like 2 or 3 assists.
He would have had. He only had 1, but he would have had a couple more.
He should have had 4 or 5 probably.
Yeah.
It seemed like you had a lot of plays where it opened shots, and the thing that we were most impressed with is our point guards didn't have any turnovers tonight. And, going forward, that's going to be huge for us. You see point guards in the league like Isaiah Stevens, he doesn't turn the ball over that much, and we have a lot of trust in Jace and Roddy, and I think they're going to do a lot for us this year.
What can you tell us about Roddy Anderson? Because, when we see him here, the bright lights are on. It's been, we can say a struggle at times, but he's just learning, man. Like he's learning a new team, a new offense, new teammates. You saw tonight, though, 12 points, 9 in the second half, 0 turnovers, can shoot it a little bit when he's left open. What can you tell us about what Roddy Anderson can bring to this team as you guys chase the Mountain West Conference Championship?
He can do a lot for us. You saw him, his shots looking good, and the way he can get in the lane and find the open guys. I mean, that helps our offense a lot with so many great shooters, and he's athletic enough to go up and finish over big guys and stuff like that. So he's going to be really great for us. He's going to continue to get more comfortable in our offense.
And Tyson, you've been a part of a couple of program records, like the longest consecutive winning streak. You got a chance to be a part of another here on Sunday. Boise State has tied the home winning streak. Got a chance to break it on Sunday. How big is it playing here at ExtraMile Arena in front of these fans, and how important is it to you guys to really protect the X?
It's really important because, every game here is sacred, and we only get so many each year, and to have Bronco Nation increase the last 3 years has been awesome, and we appreciate all the support and all the people coming out.
One last question. Have you had a few more ice bars lately? 3 dunks last game, a huge rejection. I mean, you can show your springs every once in a while, right?
Yeah, I definitely got more springs this offseason. Losing a couple pounds definitely helps.
Dude, Tyson, seriously, what was up with the 3 dunks last game? I've been meaning to ask you.
I honestly have no idea. Like, the way they doubled and I cut and I was wide open, I'm like, oh, this is
Why not, right?
a little easier than I thought. I only had 2 dunks coming into this year.
That's what I'm saying, man.
And they've both been on, like, fast breaks and just weird, but sometimes that happens. I haven't had 3 dunks since high school in a game, so
We love to see it.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Well, we appreciate the time, Tyson. Congratulations on the victory. Look forward to seeing what you do against the Titans on Sunday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tyson Degenhart for Boise State. Broncos win it over Northwestern State. 95-54 is the final. And for Boise State, team victory here tonight. All around great showing. Degenhart, Abo, Rice, Anderson, and Martin all finish in double digits. Can't ask for more than that, Jay.
I think we talked a lot about stats and numbers and things like that tonight, which I love to do. But one thing that you get a sense from watching this team is there is a nice little camaraderie between them. There is a brotherhood, a connection, if you will. And that's something that's going to go a long, long way as the games start to pile up and they get a little tougher. I'm excited to see how they continue to grow.
And obviously with this depth, unselfishness is really going to be a huge key for them. It kind of reminds me of my junior year. We had all the pieces of the puzzle. We just couldn't get over the line, and I think a big part of that was just sharing that basketball. And if they can continue to do that, I really feel like there might be 8, 9 different players that have the highest score in each game. So intrigued to see how this season progresses for the Broncos.
Well, as Boise State's new head football coach, Spencer Danielson, likes to say, talks about love a lot. These guys certainly do love each other. They come out with a big win over Northwestern State. For Jay Tuss, for Nick Duncan and myself, Leonard Berry, including our entire crew here at Boise State University, appreciate you tuning in on the Mountain West Network and KTVB. Broncos are back on Sunday, 2 Mountain Time, hosting Cal State Fullerton, looking for 20 straight at ExtraMile Arena. We'll be back then. Final score, 95-54.